Tom Ford just did what no one in fashion dared to do. He allegedly leaked receipts that Kim Kardashian, yes, the queen of luxury influence, was paid off to help cover up the growing Hermes scandal. If that sounds outrageous, buckle up, because this isn't some influencer feud or a viral TikTok takedown. This is one of fashion's most respected insiders turning the spotlight on an entire billion-dollar industry built on curated lies, corporate manipulation, and strategic silence. The world worships Hermes, the Birkin bag, the French ateliers, the handcrafted perfection. But now, it's being exposed as a house of illusions. And Kim Kardashian may be at the very center of it all. For decades, Hermès cultivated an image of unmatched prestige. Bags crafted by hand in secretive French ateliers, wait lists stretching for years, and price tags that soared into the tens of thousands. The Birkin wasn't just a handbag, it was a status symbol, a cultural icon, a promise of heritage and exclusivity. But that illusion came crashing down when TikTok whistleblowers released footage that left the fashion world reeling. Grainy clips appeared to show Birkins being mass-produced in high-volume Chinese factories, complete with assembly lines, pre-cut leather panels, and industrial logo stamping. The same bag that celebrities flaunted for $30,000, allegedly made for less than $800. Outrage erupted online, Reddit threads exploded, TikTok stitches multiplied. How could Hermès, arguably the most elite fashion house in the world, get away with selling mass-manufactured goods under the sacred label of Made in France? Why weren't there videos of artisans at work? Why no behind-the-scenes proof from the brand itself? Critics pointed out that while Hermès proudly marketed their craftsmanship, they had never opened their doors to independent audits or transparent factory walkthroughs. Their silence spoke louder than any press release. Customers who had saved for years to own a Birkin were suddenly asking if they'd been sold a lie. And yet, while the internet boiled with anger, Hermès refused to clarify. No rebuttals, no investigations, just calculated silence. But behind that silence, a different strategy was allegedly unfolding. One that didn't involve proving the bags were French-made, but rather distracting the public with something far more dazzling. Because as it turns out, while the world was demanding receipts, Hermès may have been quietly unleashing its most powerful influencer to keep the illusion alive. Just when the heat on Hermès reached a boiling point, something uncanny kept happening. Kim Kardashian would suddenly post another Birkin. Not just any bag, but the rarest, most headline-worthy pieces. Himalayan crocodile editions, crystal-encrusted models, unreleased colorways. Whether it was a late-night paparazzi snap or a front-page Vogue closet tour, Kim's Birkin flaunts always seemed to land within days of fresh Hermès backlash. To her 300 million followers, it looked like another glamorous flex. But to industry insiders watching closely, it was something far more calculated. It wasn't just content, it was control. Every one of Kim's posts was like a reset button, shifting public attention from factory scandals to fantasy fashion. The internet would explode, not over whistleblower footage, but over which Birkin she wore that week. According to analysts and fashion watchdogs, this wasn't a coincidence. It was a distraction strategy, a redirection play executed with influencer precision. Kim wasn't just showing off luxury, she was allegedly protecting it. At a time when Hermès was under fire for outsourcing, labor concerns, and consumer deception, her posts became glittering smokescreens. And who connected the dots? A fashion legend who helped invent the very playbook now being used against the public. Tom Ford, the man behind Gucci's rebirth and one of the architects of modern luxury marketing, was reportedly the first to speak out. He allegedly noticed the suspicious pattern, the timing, the choreography, and what started as an Instagram post here and there quickly unraveled into something far bigger. Because if Kim was knowingly posting as part of a broader brand cover-up, then this wasn't fashion influence. This was corporate distraction in disguise. When Tom Ford speaks, the fashion world listens. But when he allegedly leaks confidential documents exposing one of the biggest celebrity brand cover-ups in luxury history, the entire industry holds its breath. Known as the man who revived Gucci, launched a global empire, and redefined luxury on his own terms, Tom Ford isn't just a designer, he's fashion royalty. So when reports surfaced that Ford had released encrypted messages, email chains, and internal campaign directives tying Kim Kardashian directly to Hermès' damage control strategy, the story wasn't dismissed as rumor. It became a reckoning. The documents, according to insiders, weren't vague. They were detailed. They allegedly outlined everything from social media timelines to internal directives on how and when Kim should post her Hermès content. These weren't random Instagram stories. They were precise distractions, strategically dropped to drown out scandal. Coordinated campaigns cloaked in the illusion of personal style. Not simple brand partnerships, but full-blown crisis response mechanisms, dressed up as luxury lifestyle moments. Ford, it's claimed, had quietly collected the evidence for months, watching Hermès dodge accountability, watching whistleblowers be silenced, and watching influencers like Kim allegedly play along. Eventually, he snapped. Those close to Ford suggest that his frustration reached a tipping point when Hermès refused to take public responsibility, instead allegedly doubling down on distraction. He didn't just release a statement, he dropped receipts. And in doing so, he didn't just call out one celebrity or one brand. He challenged the entire machine that powers illusion in the luxury world. Because if even Kim Kardashian's posts were part of a crisis management script, what else is being choreographed behind closed doors? What looked like casual luxury content was, allegedly, anything but. According to the leaked files, Kim Kardashian's relationship with Hermès was more than an admiration for high fashion. It was part of a calculated strategy. These weren't ordinary influencer deals or promotional campaigns. Insiders claim the brand structured ambassador agreements not to boost sales, but to strategically distract the public during times of crisis. Whenever Hermès faced backlash, Kim's Instagram would suddenly light up with Birkins, closet tours, or red carpet moments styled entirely in Hermès. And the more intense the scandal, the louder the posts became. A TikTok leak showing Chinese factory lines. Cue a viral photo of Kim stepping out with a rare crocodile Birkin. A journalist questions Hermès' labor practices. She shares an updated Birkin wall, organized by color, customized for maximum impact. What made it eerie wasn't just the timing, but the consistency. Over and over, public controversy was met with curated glamour, and it worked. Each time Kim posted, the headlines shifted, from allegations of fraud to fashion envy. But eventually, the internet caught on. Reddit threads began compiling side-by-side timelines. TikTok sleuths exposed the rhythm of the posts. And once Tom Ford's alleged documents came to light, that pattern turned into a blueprint for deception. This wasn't just influence, it was insulation. Kim, knowingly or not, had allegedly become a firewall for a brand under siege. The goal wasn't just to elevate Hermès, it was to shield it, to distract the public with luxury fantasy while the truth unraveled behind the scenes. And if these allegations hold weight, it means the world's most followed influencer wasn't just complicit in a branding strategy. She may have played a pivotal role in one of fashion's most elaborate cover-ups. A cover-up designed not to sell handbags, but to bury controversy with curated perfection. If the allegations are true, Kim Kardashian may be standing on the edge of the most serious brand crisis of her career. This isn't about a tone-deaf post or a failed product launch. This is about knowingly participating in a cover-up that deceived millions of consumers. Her billion-dollar empire is built on an image: luxury, exclusivity, and power. But the same image she crafted to perfection is now being picked apart, frame by frame. And if her partnership with Hermès is proven to be more than just surface-level endorsement, if it was truly designed to manipulate public perception, then her entire brand identity may begin to crumble. Legal experts are already circling. Entertainment lawyers have hinted that Kim is allegedly preparing for lawsuits on multiple fronts. One to strike down what her team calls defamatory rumors. Another as a defensive shield, should Hermès or other entities attempt to distance themselves legally. But in 2025, legal wins don't always translate to public redemption. Online audiences are relentless, and the court of public opinion has already begun its trial. Her Birkin posts, once seen as aspirational, are now being dissected as calculated PR distractions. Her silence, once viewed as poise, is now interpreted as complicity. Even if Kim clears her name in court, the long-term damage may be irreversible. Influence isn't harmless when it shapes narratives to hide the truth. And in an age where authenticity is currency, even the appearance of deceit can be catastrophic. Kim's legacy as a businesswoman, influencer, and media mogul is now entangled with one question. Did she knowingly help Hermes silence a scandal? Because if the answer is yes, then this isn't just a PR nightmare. It's a betrayal of the very followers and consumers who built her empire to begin with. Behind the gleaming marble walls of Hermes headquarters, a different picture is allegedly unfolding, one of chaos, not control. Insiders claim emergency PR meetings are being held behind closed doors. Confidential memos are flying between departments. Internal audits have reportedly been launched in a frantic effort to figure out what might leak next. The leadership that once presented Hermes as untouchable is now scrambling to contain a digital wildfire, one fueled not just by controversy, but by the brand's refusal to come clean. The deeper the silence grows, the more damning it sounds. On the front lines, retail employees have allegedly been instructed to say as little as possible. Questions about where the bags are made, met with vague answers or complete avoidance. PR agencies once eager to flaunt their association with Hermes are now, according to reports, scrubbing client lists and backing away. Even the brand's celebrity loyalists, those who once proudly showed off their Birkin collections, have suddenly gone quiet. Social media posts have been deleted, mentions erased. It's a digital vanishing act, and it's not going unnoticed. The influencers who built their image on showcasing Hermes are now retreating, unsure of how deep the scandal runs, or how close they might be to it. What started as a few leaked videos has snowballed into a full-blown brand identity crisis. The phrase "made in France," once a symbol of elegance and authenticity, is now met with skepticism. Consumers aren't just angry, they feel betrayed. The brand that built its legacy on exclusivity and craftsmanship is now accused of mass-producing illusions. And for a company that once stood as the gold standard of luxury, the consequences of that betrayal may be irreversible. This isn't just a PR issue, it's a reckoning. And Hermes, for the first time in decades, is bleeding from the inside out. Once the internet smells a cover-up, it doesn't let go. And this time, it's not just critics, but an army of digital sleuths leading the charge. TikTokers have launched entire channels dedicated to dissecting the timeline of Kim Kardashian's Hermes posts, matching them to the exact days scandals erupted. They're comparing colors, captions, and even timestamps, building case studies that expose what many now believe was a long-running distraction strategy. On Reddit, fashion watchdogs are going even deeper, analyzing serial numbers on Birkins, tracking buyer reports, and identifying craftsmanship inconsistencies that challenge Hermes's narrative of bespoke luxury. What used to be brand obsession has now turned into brand investigation. Hermes customers are no longer accepting vague statements or silence. They're demanding transparency. Who makes these bags? Where are the actual French ateliers the brand swore by? Why hasn't Hermes opened its doors to show proof? In an era where a TikTok video can go viral in seconds, consumers are no longer content with glossy ads and celebrity endorsements. They want receipts, literally and figuratively. And every day Hermes avoids answering, the questions only multiply. Even rival luxury houses are allegedly watching this backlash unfold with quiet interest, learning what not to do and perhaps preparing their own crisis plans just in case. The digital pressure is unrelenting. Memes are circulating. Threads are growing. Public trust is eroding. Because in the age of social media, silence isn't strategic, it's suspicious. And if Hermes thinks it can outlast the internet's attention span, it may have seriously underestimated just how hungry the public is for the truth. In an industry built on silence, Tom Ford allegedly did the unthinkable. He spoke up. For decades, Ford was the architect of fashion's fantasy. He resurrected Gucci, built a billion-dollar brand in his own name, and became one of the most influential creative forces in modern luxury. But now, he's being credited with something even bigger: breaking the silence. If the leaks truly came from him, Ford didn't just call out Hermes, he exposed a system, a well-oiled machine where image trumps truth, and influence is used not to inspire, but to manipulate. Insiders are already calling this moment the Ford shift, a pivot point where one of fashion's most respected voices allegedly chose transparency over tradition. ethics over elitism. It's rare, almost unheard of, for a designer of his stature to turn on the very playbook he helped write. But by allegedly dropping these receipts, Ford may have forced an entire industry to confront its ugliest truths. The lies behind the labels, the influencers used as smokescreens, and the luxury myth sold to consumers at sky-high prices. This wasn't just about Hermes. It was about an entire ecosystem built on curated deception. Ford's move could redefine what accountability looks like in fashion. For years, the industry has survived on illusion, whispers of exclusivity, handcrafted mystique, and untouchable prestige. But if one of its own icons is now dismantling that illusion piece by piece, it sends a chilling message. The era of unchecked glamour may be over, and in its place, a new demand for truth, led not by consumers, but by a legend who finally chose to break the silence. This wasn't just another brand blunder or social media misstep. It was a calculated illusion, one that, if true, reveals a deeply orchestrated attempt to shield one of the world's most iconic luxury brands from accountability. Kim Kardashian didn't just post handbags. She allegedly became a distraction tactic, a human firewall used to redirect attention every time Hermes came under fire. And Hermes? They didn't just sell exclusivity. According to the leaked claims, they sold a lie, one crafted in boardrooms and polished by influencers, not ateliers in France. Tom Ford's alleged leak didn't just expose a few private messages. It broke open the dam. It pulled back the curtain on how branding can be weaponized, how influence can be used not to uplift, but to obscure. And it showed how the lines between collaboration and collusion can become dangerously blurred. Consumers who once admired the glitz are now asking deeper questions. Who else was involved? How long has this been happening? And how many other handcrafted luxury goods are really just factory products with a designer price tag? In 2025, brand loyalty isn't enough to cover the cracks. The public doesn't just want apologies, they want transparency, proof, change. Because when influence is knowingly used to hide deception, it stops being marketing and starts becoming manipulation. No celebrity endorsement, no six-figure bag collection, and no carefully curated image can reverse that kind of betrayal. And now that the illusion has shattered, one truth remains. Luxury without honesty isn't luxury at all. It's a lie dressed in silk.